the two specific REIAs that we have down there, obviously the North Shore REIA with Courtney, but your REIA with Emil on the West Bank there. So talk to me about that, like, if you don't mind, or talk to us, I should say, like, how did that come about? I mean, obviously it was a natural progression, I'm assuming, like, because Courtney did actually mention the same thing, like, if you don't have something or can't find something that you're comfortable with or suits what you're really looking for, go out and create it for yourself. And I mean, obviously you're another example of that. So if you don't mind, talk to us a little bit about how that came about with Emil.
Yeah, so I mean, I love the meetups. Definitely attended Courtney's on the North Shore, and I still do. Hers is awesome, but it's far away from us. And Emil was someone that we're just working together. We had separate businesses, similar businesses, and we were helping each other. He started the REIA. He wanted just to get a meetup on the West Bank. He saw there was just a need to get people together, and he did a couple. And I basically am like, man, like I was craving those connections. Like I was craving, that networking, because we just believe just as you connect, you do more deals together. Like we have an abundance mindset. It's not, I don't need you to not do well for me to do well. Like we can all do well together. And the more we're talking, the more I start to put deals together. I'm like, oh yeah, wait, I should call that person. So that was the idea. And I sort of went to Emil. My skills are marketing. So I'm like, hey, let me help make this something, So we sort of teamed up, and I started doing the marketing, the credit Facebook group. That's really my skill, and we just made it come together. Our REIA is awesome, and I'll tell you why. Because not our REIA, it's like the group's REIA. But what we love about it is, with most REIAs, like they have some speaker that comes, and they're often selling something, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I go to those REIAs too. There's nothing wrong with the speaker selling stuff, right? But it's like they're generally like they're a speaker, and there's a place for that. What we do differently, we pull real active people that aren't speakers. Like I know all the big players because I sell deals to them. So like I know who's like, I love grabbing a person that's like, I know they're killing it. They're big. They're not a big name, but they're a big player. And if we were to ask them, hey, can you come and do a presentation at REIA? They would say no, because they don't do presentations. They're out there busy working their ass off, building a business, right? But we do like a podcast style interview. So I'm saying, hey, come to our REIA, let us interview you. No preparation, no slideshow, no work to do. They literally just turn up, they sit down, sort of like this, right? They turn up, they sit down, and we interview them. So that makes it real different. They're real active people, and you start getting those people in a room, and that means that for our REIAs, like a lot of active people come. A lot of newbies come too, and we welcome that. Obviously, you want newbies, but if it's just newbies, like it doesn't really take off. You need active, real people to mix with those newbies, start to collaborate. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of deals happen now because of that meetup. What we do is we also do a drinks afterwards, and that's been real successful. We do real estate and drinks, and you just get to know people personally. And I've done a few deals now where like I've literally put it together because I've sat drinking with that person after the meetup, and I know what they want and what they're doing. So when I've got a deal I'm trying to put together, it hits me. I'm like, hey, I need to call them because this will work. So I just think as you get to know each other, you just do more deals together. People call me about things because you just know where everyone fits. And we love deals where, multiple parties are involved and, making it happen.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to do networking stuff all the time, from our standpoint, right? And just trying to treat it more as an education of like, we're not the hard sell company, maybe to a fault somewhat, but what our biggest tool for, in our eyes is our educational, mindset, right? We want to be a partner with you in terms of, like you're saying, when you're thinking of a deal that, maybe gets a little hairy, we want you to think back on the one that Ryan did for you 2 deals ago that really got super hairy, but, we broke it down and all that kind of stuff. So for somebody like us, we struggle, honestly, we're going to talk honestly here. We struggle filling our room when it comes to those type of events. Like, so for us, what's some, and a lot of people that may be trying to do meetups and are struggling to get, traction, what do you think goes, the longest way in terms of maybe the marketing, maybe the pitch to, the people you're going for, kind of what worked, best for you that you've been able to kind of pass along to maybe Courtney with her REIA or, other people in the space? I
think it's starting to foster a community, right? And Like if I think, I can think of a bunch of people who, like, for our REIA, it's their REIA. You know what I mean? Like it's not mine and Emil's. It's like it's there. They come regularly. They've come from the beginning. So I think you start, and that starts slow, right? Because the first couple, like, it builds, right? But you bring these people in, and they feel part of that community. And then they stay, and then you get another person comes and they come back. So I think you need to foster that community, and we also do it through Facebook. So we do the meeting once a month, but we also have a Facebook group, and it's pretty active. If you have a question, if you post it, it's gonna get answered. You know what I mean? Like, right. and it's got that same go-get mentality. So there's a community behind it, and I think that's what helps. And for us, here's probably the difference with us. We don't really. I don't see our role as we're not the educators. Meaning, we're not trying to educate you. We're trying to bring people together, right? And we always bring together an expert who we're interviewing. And yes, there's lots of education that comes from that person, but it's just their opinion. It's a valid opinion, But we're not trying to say, hey, you should do this, you should do that. We're not really educating. We're just it's like what makes a good party? It's the people, right? You want to have a good venue, you want to have the things in place, but it's like. If the guest list, people don't really turn up, it's not going to happen. But if people come and they're talking, they're fun, so it's more about getting that community. It's about getting them talking, sharing, and that's what we do. So we're just drawing everyone, and it's not about us. It's not about us being experts. It's not about even the person being expert. It's them giving their opinion, asking, hearing other people. I think just if you get that community, that's the real key to having successful, REIA, meetup, etc.
And that collaboration, I think that's been the key word the last 2 days and the last couple of interviews is just collaboration and having that self-confidence and pride and just saying yeah, I'll help you on this deal. I'll help you on your next deal. I'll help you on your next deal. And sooner or later they're going to need something from you, and it's just putting that good karma, like you said earlier, in the universe, and saying eventually it'll boomerang itself back to me. So, I think that's in a great way. And I think that's something where, as much as, like I said, we want to be the educator and teach people about the tools that we have that may be different than a conventional bank or maybe the next guy in the thing, in the space. I think sometimes we get lost as we want to educate you, where maybe we should bring it more collaborative, like we're trying to do with the podcast, and, put the borrower on the showcase and instead and let us take the back seat and then, learn through that.
That's exactly what we do, by the way. So that is the formula, right? So if you think about it, by the way, I like your boomerang reference. That was good.
That was totally accidental. It was coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, this is horrible.
But if you think about it, that's actually what we do, right? So me and Emil have both done a fair amount of wholesaling, So a lot of our speakers, they're my buyers. Right, because I know who's active, right? So I'm pulling them. You guys are the lenders. You guys have the same. You've got the people that are active and doing it. They've got the info. So that is the formula, and that's what we do. It's the same thing. Pulling up your borrowers, the ones that who's active, who's getting loans, who's doing projects. Just pulling that person up, getting them. That's what people are interested in. And of course, they're gonna learn about your product. They're using your product. That's great, but. That is the formula.